Hey everyone, welcome back. We continue through the 2024 lineups on to Ducati. As always, feel free to leave any comments, and if you would, I'd appreciate it if you would subscribe and like. At the end of the video, there will be a link to the entire 2024 lineup series. Let me begin this by saying that Ducati has several e-bikes on their website, but since we're not covering bicycles, we're going to skip those. Also, the Superleggera from last year's lineup is no longer in production since that was a limited edition run. I also don't see any X-Diavel listed anymore on the website. The Diavel is still there, but no X-Diavel is listed. We're going to start with the off-road bikes like we've done in other lineup videos. So we start with the Hypermotard, Ducati's Supermoto. Yes, the Supermoto is an on-street bike, but it is off-road capable. We start with the 698 Mono. The two 698 Mono bikes are brand new for 2024. This has a single-cylinder engine derived from the 1299 Panigale with 659cc, 77.5 horsepower, 46.5 foot-pounds of torque, 35.6-inch seat height, weighs about 350 pounds, has a 3-gallon tank, and costs $13,000. The 698 Mono RVE has the same specs with some different graphics, costs $14,500. Next is the Hypermotard 950 and 950 SP. These have a 937cc L-twin engine. We'll see that in a lot of different bikes, with 114 horsepower and 71 foot-pounds of torque, 35-inch seat height, 436 pounds, and a 3.8 gallon tank. Price is $15,300 for the 950, which is up $700 from 2023, and the 950 SP is $19,000, which is up $800 from last year. I do not see the 950 RVE model like what we had available last year, so that might be discontinued as well. We move up to the adventure bikes, the DesertX. The DesertX has the same 937cc L-twin as the Hypermotard, but with 110 horsepower and 68 foot-pounds of torque, so slightly less power, 34.4-inch seat height, 5.5 gallon tank, and weighs 492 pounds. The base model costs $18,000. This is up $900 from 2023. The DesertX Rally is brand new for 2024, has a 35.8-inch seat height, and weighs about 500 pounds. Has some other off-road upgrades and costs $23,000. The other off-road bike is the Multistrada, which is a higher-end sport adventure touring bike. The starting point is the V2S with a 937cc L-twin with 113 horsepower and 71 foot-pounds of torque, 32.7-inch seat, weighs 496 pounds, has a 5.3 gallon tank, and costs $19,300. This is up $1,100 from last year. We jump up to the V4S on the Multistrada with the 1158cc V4 engine with 170 horsepower and 92 foot-pounds of torque. Adjustable 33.1 to 33.9 inch seat height. There are other seat options as well. 5.8 gallon tank, weighs 536 pounds, and costs $27,200. This is up $300 from last year. The V4S Grand Tour is a new model for this year, has the saddlebags on it for touring, weighs around 560 pounds, and costs $28,400. Next is the V4 Rally, again Multistrada, a higher 34.3 to 35-inch seat height, 573 pounds, 7.9 gallon tank, cost is $30,000. This is the same price as last year. And next after that is the V4 Pikes Peak, 527 pounds, back to the 5.8 gallon tank and the 33.1 to 33.9 seat height. Cost is $31,600. This is up $1,200 from last year. And the last of the Multistradas is a brand new model, the V4 RS, with a different V4 engine. This is the racing engine, the 1103cc, has 180 horsepower and 87 foot-pounds of torque, same 5.8 gallon tank and 33.1 to 33.9 adjustable seat height, around 530 pounds, costs a measly $38,000. We're going to move to the on-street bikes and start with the Scramblers, which is the bottom of the line as far as price point, with the Icon series. These are all the same price as 2023 on the Icon series. Most have the same specs, an 803cc L-twin engine with 73 horsepower, 48.8 foot-pounds of torque, a 3.5 gallon tank, and ranging around 415 to 420 pounds, with a 31.4 inch seat height. And only differences really between these are colors and some features like exhaust and suspension differences. Many of them have interchangeable aluminum side panels for the tank that allow you to customize it as you see fit. So we start at the bottom with the Icon Dark, which is $9,200. Then we go to the Icon Standard, $11,000. The Urban Motard, $11,900. Slightly higher seat height on this one with 31.7 inch and slightly heavier at 432 pounds. Then we go to the Full Throttle. Again, we're still on the 803cc engine with 73 horsepower, 3.5 gallon tank. This one is $12,200. The Night Shift is also $12,200, and the Desert Sled is $12,600. This is the adventure model, so it weighs more at 461 pounds and has a 33.9 inch seat height. Again, all of those 6 models are all the same as far as engine specs goes, and they all cost the same as they did last year in 2023. We move up to the 1100 series of the Scramblers. These all have the same basic specs with each other as well. A 1079cc L-twin, 86 horsepower, 65 foot-pounds of torque, 31.9 inch seat, and a 4 gallon tank. So we start with the 1100 Dark Pro. This is $13,900. This is up $600 from last year. This one weighs 454 pounds. Then is the 1100 Tribute Pro. This is $14,900, up $400 from last year, slightly heavier at 465 pounds. And then the 1100 Sport Pro. This is $17,200, up $600 from last year, back to 454 pounds like the Dark Pro. Okay, that's it for the Scramblers. Now we move to the Monster bikes. We start with the Monster Plus, again with the 937cc L-twin. This one has 111 horsepower with 69 foot-pounds of torque, 32.3 inch seat height, a 3.7 gallon tank, weighs 414 pounds, costs $13,000. This is up $300 from last year. The Monster Special, which is the Monster SP, has the extra graphics, costs $15,700. This is only up $100 from last year. The other model for the Monster is a new limited edition and limited number Monster 30th anniversary. This is $18,600. I'm not sure how many are available on that, but I know there's a limited number available. We're going to move over to the Diavel. Only 2 models this year. The Diavel 1260 and 1260S have been discontinued. The Diavel V4 Sport Cruiser has the 1158cc V4 with 168 horsepower and 93 foot-pounds of torque, weighs 520 pounds, has a 31.1 inch seat height, a 5.3 gallon tank, and costs $27,000, up $300 from last year. Ducati has a new model this year, a collaboration model with Bentley. The Diavel for Bentley limited edition collaboration model, which costs pocket change, $70,000. We move up to the sport bikes. 3 series here. We're going to start with the Supersport. The Supersport 950 and 950S have the 937cc L-twin with 110 horsepower and 69 foot-pounds of torque, 463 pounds, 31.9 inch seat, 4.2 gallon tank. The 950 costs $15,500, which appears to be a drop from $1,400 from last year. So what I'm seeing, last year the 950 was $16,900. This year's $15,500. That's kind of odd. The 950S costs $18,000, which is up $700 from last year. So now there's a $2,500 difference between the two. All right, next is the Streetfighter series. All of these are the same price as last year. No price increase on these except for the bottom of the line, the V2. This has a 955cc V2 Super Quadro engine with 153 horsepower and 74.8 foot-pounds of torque, weighs 441 pounds, has a 33.3 inch seat height, a 4.5 gallon tank, and costs $18,000. This is up $700 from last year. All the rest of the Street Fighters are the same price as last year. That takes us to the V4, back to the 1103cc engine with 208 horsepower now, 90.4 foot-pounds of torque, 444 pounds, a 33.3 inch seat height, 4.3 gallon tank. This costs $22,100. The V4S is 10 pounds lighter and has special graphics and upgrades, costs $27,600. The V4 SP2, the special, this is a special numbered edition, has the same specs as the V4S, lots of special graphics and aesthetic upgrades. This costs $38,000. And the last of the Street Fighters is another collaboration bike with Lamborghini. The Street Fighter Lamborghini, well, If you can afford a Lamborghini, then you can afford the $68,000 price on this. The last series for Ducati is the Panigale bikes, which are their racing bikes. We start with the Panigale V2, 955cc L-twin, 155 horsepower, 76.7 foot-pounds of torque, 441 pounds, 33.1 inch seat height, 4.5 gallon tank for $18,600. This is up $800 from last year. The V2 Bayless is a special unit painted with the paint scheme used by Troy Bayliss with his number on it, a very successful Ducati racer. Just slightly lighter at 434 pounds and a slightly lower seat at 32.9. This costs $23,000. This is up $1,500 from last year. The Panigale V4 has the 1103cc engine. This one has 210 horsepower with 90.6 foot-pounds of torque, 437 pounds, 33.5 inch seat, 4.5 gallon tank, and costs $25,000. This is up $1,100 from 2023. The V4S has the same specs, a couple of pounds lighter, costs $32,200, also up $1,500 from last year. The V4R has a 998cc engine, slightly lower cc than the V4 and the V4S. The road configuration of the V4R has 207 horsepower with 82 foot-pounds of torque. If you want to spend the money for the racing configuration, it boosts the power up to about 240 horsepower and 87 foot-pounds of torque, but it is not street legal. It can only be used on the track. 33.5 inch seat height, 427 pounds of weight, 4.5 gallon tank. The road configuration of the V4R is $45,500. This is up $500 from last year. I couldn't find a price on the race configuration. Last year I think it was $53,000, so I'm guessing it's going to be more like $55,000 or $54,000. Not totally sure on that. Last year we had the V4 SP2. This year we have the V4 SP2 30th Anniversary Edition. Same basic specs as the V4, but in a limited edition with a special paint job. This costs $46,000. Something new and interesting this year for the Panigale bikes. As we wrap this up, Ducati has released 5 replica bikes from the 2023 racing season. So these are Panigale bikes that are made to look just like their racing counterparts. They are numbered and limited. So these are modeled after 5 specific bikes that won trophies during the racing season of 2023, I believe. So first is the Panigale V2 Bulega, and I think they're named based on the racer that rode them. So first is the Panigale V2 Bulega bike for $43,000. 111 units available on this bike. Next is the Panigale V4 Bezzecchi for $63,000. 72 units available. If I butcher these names, my apologies. We have 2 in the $68,000 price range. The Panigale V4 Bautista with 219 units available, and the Panigale V4 Martin with 189 units available. Last is the Panigale V4 Banaya, for $73,000. There are 263 of this one available. I believe the number of available units is based loosely on the number that the rider uses or something like that. Just like Bayliss has a 21 on it, the number of units available on these bikes I think is based on the rider's number. Anyway, that's it for Ducati. But stay tuned, folks. We still got Royal Enfield, Triumph, Harley, and a few others still to go. Thanks for watching. Take care, everybody. God bless. See you on the next one.